So there is this video of a girl who went to visit his brother in a boarding school that a lot of people have been talking about. And I saw that video, I was like, wow, is this how you guys do in boarding school? Because personally, I never attended a boarding school. But I've heard a lot, people have been talking, people have been talking about boarding school. And I was discussing recently with my cousin who actually attended a boarding school. And he told me his experience, how they eat, how they were being fed, and all that. So that brings me to the question, why do people send their kids to boarding school? And have you ever had that kind of experience? Maybe you attended boarding school. I would like to, get to hear your own experience when you were there. Because this video I'm talking about now, the lady went to visit the brother in the boarding school on the visiting day. And people have been talking about how they experienced, this visiting day was so, they were so excited. Each time the visiting day was coming up, they were always excited because they knew they would eat well. A cousin of mine was telling me how he was being fed, like, watery beans. And, on weekends when they should be resting, after attending classes Monday to Friday, you're expected, to have some rest over the weekend. But then the school authority will now tell them to go to the farm and be clearing bushes and, they help them in the farm. At the end of the day, the farm produce will also be consumed by the school management. So I don't know, why do people send their kids to boarding school? People have been like, okay, when you go to boarding school, you'll be sharp, you have that street OT. But to me, I just look at it like, if you sending your kids to a boarding school, it just looks like you're tired. Or if you were not ready to have kids, why would you have kids? You understand? Because you have a son. For instance, I heard of a guy who is asthmatic and he was sent to a boarding school. So in the middle of the night, this the attack they usually have from time to time. He had it, and they took the boy to the school's clinic. They didn't have the inhaler. They were now running here and there. The boy almost lost his life. If not for the principal of the school who carried the boy in his car and they took the boy outside. That was how they saved the boy's life. Imagine if that man who owned the car wasn't in that school that day. What would have happened? So, if you get to hear what people experience in boarding schools, no difference from people in the prison, because in the prison, the way they treat you when you're sick, you find it difficult to get help. When you go to the clinic, what you're going to find is they just give you some tablets. They don't have much to offer you. So when you're seriously sick, nobody cares about you. My cousin was telling me his experience, how they even had to, jump, they scaled the fence. They went into the bush to cook because they were not um, well fed that particular day. They even saw snake. They saw some, animals in the bush. So please, if you know you can't take care of your kids, I know there are some good boarding schools, but then you have to make your research. Look at this video I'm talking about. The lady went to visit her brother and look at how the brother was eating. This comes to show you that they don't feed them very well. Most boarding schools don't really give a damn. They are just about what they can get from you. You understand? If you know you really love your kid, I'm not saying don't go to boarding school, but please, you have to make your research and be sure of the kind of school you're taking them to, so that you feel you're making them to have the street OT, but when they go there, they come out and they are hardened criminals. So please, don't take your kids to this kind of boarding school that I'm looking at right now. It makes no sense. So if you've had this kind of experience, tell me. If you attended the boarding school, tell me how your experience was. I would like to hear from you. Did you attend a boarding school? How was it like? How were you treated there? Because a lot of people are saying the only difference between a boarding school and a prison yard is just this uniform they wear. That they treat you like you're a prisoner. Nobody really cares about you. And they bring a small portion of food, and that is what everybody will eat. It is quite not funny, honestly. It's not really funny. So, even though you've been to a boarding school, tell me about your experience. I would like to know, because, man, that video, when I watched that video, man, mofo, let me just say the way your Bible said, mofo, man, I feel, personally, I don't think I can take my kids to a boarding school. So, I would like to hear your experience. How was it like? Were you treated fairly? Because if you look at that boy, the boy looks so emaciated. If I were in the shoes of that family, I would have taken that boy back home because from the looks of things, that boy is not being taken care of very well in that school. So I would like to hear your experience. How was it like? Did you attend a boarding school? Did it make you a better person? Did it make you stronger? Do you feel like you would have changed the situation if you had the opportunity, or would you send your kids to a boarding school? If you did attend a boarding school, when you start having kids, would you like to send your kids to a boarding house to go school? Tell me what you think. And thank you for watching. Come back for more beautiful videos.